Days of Our Lives Wednesday, September 25 recap. Holly snooping, Sarah busts Xander and Maggie's mystery. Days of Our Lives, DOOL. Spoilers recap for Wednesday, September 25, reveals that Holly Jonas, Ashley Kuzmas, found E.J. Demera, Dan Fuerivel, at the hospital, where she hugged him and said she was glad he was okay after all the explosion drama. E.J. and Holly talked about being kindred spirits since they both wanted Brady Black, Eric Martsolf, to pay for what he did to Sarah Kyriakis, Lindsay Godfrey. However, E.J. also pushed Holly to consider whether her anger over what Eric Brady, Greg Vaughn, did to Daniel Jonas, Sean Christian, was motivating her. As for Holly's offer to help find evidence against Brady, E.J. pushed her to leave that to the police. Once Holly was gone, E.J. barked threats over the phone as he tried to get the cops to make progress in taking Brady down. It left E.J. wondering if maybe he should have taken Holly up on her offer. At home on Wednesday's episode, Tate Black, Leah Howard, opened the door to Sophia Choi, Madeline Keans, who brought him free barbecue sliders from the bistro since they were his favorite. Sophia pretended she was upset over Holly shutting her out too, and suggested she'd never take Tate for granted if she were lucky enough to have a boyfriend like him. After Sophia placed her hand on Tate's, Holly showed up next. Tate insisted this wasn't what it looked like, but Holly didn't dwell on it and quickly sent Sophia on her way. Holly told Tate that she was there to apologize for ignoring his calls and texts. After Holly said she wanted to hang out like they used to, Tate admitted he'd like that. Holly excused herself to freshen up and slipped in Brady's bedroom, where she snooped for evidence and ultimately broke in his briefcase. That's when Tate opened the door and asked what the hell Holly was doing. At the bistro on Wednesday's episode, Fiona Cook, Serena Scott Thomas, came clean to Maggie Kyriakis, Suzanne Rogers, about sleeping with Brady and eventually convincing Xander Kyriakis, Paul Telfer, not to attack him. Maggie was understanding about Fiona's hookups with Brady and expressed her gratitude over the rescue since she didn't want to see Brady hurt. After Maggie left on Wednesday's DOOL show, Fiona ordered cheesecake and a martini from Sophia, though she seemed to feel a little guilty about her continued drinking. At the Kyriakis mansion, Sarah Kyriakis, Lindsay Godfrey, wanted Xander to promise that he'd drop his vendetta and stop going after Brady. Xander couldn't just forgive and forget, so that was a promise he couldn't make Sarah. After Xander got a text, he insisted it was Titan business and took off. Sarah got Henderson to bring the van around and tracked Xander's location to the park before heading there. Meanwhile, Xander met with his henchman, Brian D. Cohen, who handed over an untraceable gun, just like Xander asked for. The henchman also assured Xander that he was clear on his part in all this and said Brady wouldn't know what hit him. Sarah showed up after the henchman was gone, called Xander out on his Titan business lie, and wanted to know what he was really up to. As for Maggie, she was baffled when she went in Sarah's room and found that she was gone. At the pub on Wednesday's episode, Eric Brady, Greg Vaughn, tried to convince Brady that he had to live his life. Brady didn't see how he could escape the guilt of paralyzing Sarah and explained how Fiona stopped Xander from paralyzing him too. Once Brady gave Eric news on how he became bedroom buddies with Fiona, he admitted that was over now. Later, Brady ran into Xander's henchman in the town square. The henchman got confirmation that he was Brady Black and left Brady curious about who he was. Back with Eric, he was annoyed when E.J. arrived at the pub and began taunting him over his ruined relationship with Holly. After E.J. made a prediction about Holly never trusting Eric or Nicole Walker, Ariane Zucker, ever again, he suggested it was lucky she could lean on him instead. Days of Our Lives spoilers say E.J. and Eric's face-off is about to get out of hand, so we'll bring you updates on all the escalating hostility. In Salem, secrets and lies intertwine in a delicate web that seems ready to unravel at any moment. On Wednesday, September 25, the storm begins to gather strength as unsuspecting players find themselves drawn into mysteries they never anticipated. From Holly's sneaky antics to Sarah's shocking discovery, this episode was nothing short of explosive. ###*** Holly snooping. The curiosity of youth ****. At the Horton house, a restless Holly Jonas found herself alone in her room, left to her own devices while Nicole prepared for a meeting with Eric. Holly had always been a curious child, but today her curiosity would take her down a path that even she couldn't have predicted. Her favorite stuffed rabbit, Mr. Flopsy, had mysteriously disappeared the night before, and despite Nicole's reassurances that it would turn up, Holly was determined to find it herself. As she crept out of her room, the house was eerily quiet, the afternoon sun casting long shadows across the hallway. A small frown creased her face. Something felt off. Making her way toward the living room, Holly paused when she heard faint voices from downstairs, coming from the basement. She knew she wasn't supposed to go down there without permission, but the whispers had her on edge. Was it her imagination, or did she hear her name mentioned? Curiosity piqued, Holly tiptoed down the creaky steps, careful not to make a sound. What she found in the basement would send ripples through Salem. Hidden behind a stack of boxes was a dusty old chest she had never noticed before. Holly pulled at the latch, and after a few hard tugs, the chest popped open with a creak. Inside were old photos, letters, and a small, intricately carved wooden box. As Holly pulled out the wooden box, her fingers brushed something cold, something metallic. She looked down to see a key, and with it, a note that simply read, ****ask Maggie****. Holly's mind raced. What could this key be for? And why did it involve Maggie? ###******* Sarah busts Xander. A reckoning *******. Across town, in Xander's apartment, Sarah Horton stormed in like a hurricane, her face flushed with anger. She had given Xander countless chances to prove he could be the man she needed him to be, but his secrecy was starting to wear thin. Sarah knew he was hiding something big, and today, she intended to find out exactly what it was. Xander, sitting at the kitchen table with a glass of whiskey in hand, barely looked up as she entered. His usual cocky smirk flickered across his face, but there was something different in his eyes today, something dark, something defensive. *Sarah, love, to what do I owe this pleasant surprise?** Xander drawled, leaning back in his chair with a lazy grin. *Cut the crap, Xander,** Sarah snapped, her hands on her hips. *I know you're up to something. You've been avoiding my questions for weeks, and I'm not leaving until I get some answers.** Xander raised an eyebrow, clearly enjoying the fire in her voice, but there was a flicker of uncertainty that Sarah didn't miss. She knew Xander better than anyone, and despite his bravado, she could tell he was on edge. *Sarah, darling, you know I've got a complicated life. There are things I have to keep quiet to protect you, to protect us.** Sarah's eyes narrowed. *Don't give me that protecting us garbage. I'm not some helpless little girl who needs saving. You're hiding something, and I deserve to know what it is.** Without warning, Sarah began rummaging through Xander's apartment, pulling open drawers and cupboards, searching for anything that would explain his erratic behavior. Xander stood up, trying to stop her, but it was too late. In the back of his closet, behind a row of expensive suits, Sarah found a black duffel bag. Her heart pounded as she unzipped it, revealing stacks of cash, a burner phone, and several passports, each with a different name and photo of Xander. Sarah froze, staring at the bag in disbelief. *What is this?** she demanded, her voice barely above a whisper. Xander's face went pale. For once, he was speechless. *Xander, what the hell is this? Are you running from something? Are you in trouble? Or worse, are you planning to run out on me?** Xander took a step forward, reaching for her, but she recoiled. *It's not what you think, Sarah. I swear. I was going to tell you, but I needed to make sure things were safe first.** *Safe from what?** Sarah shot back, her voice shaking with a mixture of fury and heartbreak. But before Xander could answer, the doorbell rang, shattering the tension. Neither of them moved, the sound hanging in the air like a loaded gun. ###*********. Maggie's mystery. Secrets buried in the past ********.